Hello YouTube, let's talk about the Boy Cobalt Basic 3 dive knife. Comes with a nylon sheath. You got your vertical and horizontal belt loops. Kydex retention sleeve that doesn't really retain. Not a good sheath for the price of this knife. Terrible. Go on Instagram, find someone who can make you a nice Kydex sheath or make it yourself. It was super easy to make this one, and it definitely minimizes the overall size of the knife plus sheath. Knife itself, upon arrival, this is not the factory wrap. The factory wrap is a nylon cord wrap. Super usable, super awesome. This is just one I put on. The sharpening guides down here at the base of the knife, the heel, were uneven, so I evened them out and rebeveled it. And you can see that when I rebeveled it at the same angle per side, it wasn't even. And I think that's due to the investment casting process that Boy uses, in which they pour their cobalt alloy into a ceramic mold and let it air cool. It doesn't come out completely flat like most of the knives that we see today. And that's not a functional issue. It's just part of the way that this knife is made. And it's not really an aesthetic issue either, because the human eye can't really tell. So, I noticed that when sharpening it at a set angle, which was interesting to me, but it doesn't affect it in any way. The last 1.5 inches of spine, let's see if I can get that focused, is ground and sharp on the sides to allow you to scrape or strike the ferrocerium rod or whatever you need to do. The material itself is very interesting. Boy Dendritic Cobalt. It's actually an alloy that they make in-house, if you will. And the only other maker on the market making something similar is a company called Terrain 365, which makes a cobalt alloy that they call Terravantium. And I don't know how similar these two steels are, or these two non-steels. I've reached out to Boy about their composition. They haven't gotten back to me yet. I've also reached out to Terrain 365. They have not gotten back to me yet. Who knows if either of them ever will. But we'll see. I'll update this video if they do. But it's a cobalt alloy, so it's molten cobalt with, I would assume, some carbide suspended in that matrix, because the cobalt itself, they don't list the HRC, and they haven't replied to me about the HRC either, the Rockwell hardness. But based on how it felt sharpening, I'm guessing somewhere from 55 to 57. It's not a hard material. It's very soft. But it cuts rope and other fibrous materials like crazy, and it keeps cutting. And even when it feels dull, this is one of the things they said on their description of the knife, when it feels dull, it's actually really sharp. And I'm like, oh, of course, that is complete bullshit. It's not a marketing technique. It literally will feel dull, and it will cut better than, a hair whittling, tree topping, thinner knife. When we're cutting through paracord, literally anything, like, was that twisted sisal rope that what's his face is always using. It really cuts like crazy. It's insane. It definitely prefers a toothy edge. I have tried polishing this edge. I took it to 0.1 micron on a leather kangaroo strap after using the lapping plates on a KME sharpener, and it was still cutting like crazy. but it's definitely more aggressive. It feels like stickier, like steel would, but to an even higher extent. This feels stickier and just grabs better when it's at a toothy edge. All right, specs wise. Overall length is about 8 inches. Handle length about 4. Blade length about 4 inches. Spine about 1/4 of an inch. Behind the edge, we're looking at about 25 thousandths. About 25 thousandths till we hit the actual edge on there. It is a full hollow grind up to the fuller here. So a super thick, hefty knife with a pretty decent edge thickness. Pretty cool. Let's get some general size comparisons going. Next to the Victorinox Alox Cadet, Spyderco 470 Emissary, classic Opinel. Oh my god, this is number 8 or 9. I'm not totally sure. Let's see here. Your Spyderco Spidey Chef reground, Benchmade Griptilian. So about the same size as your Benchmade Griptilian. Better blade to handle ratio, of course, because it is not a folder. Benchmade Osborne 810 Contigo. So not a tiny knife, not a huge knife. When I received it, definitely smaller than expected, but thicker and heftier than expected. There's your SE3. About the same size, roughly. Definitely a broader blade, though. Standard Mora. So a little bit shorter than the Mora. Let's do a smaller sheath knife. Bestech Heidi Blacksmith. Cold Steel Counterattack 2. This is basically a boot knife. So this knife is slightly larger than a very good sized boot knife. For a wacky comparison, Cold Steel Luzon. But yeah, anyway, just, man, what a phenomenal knife with such a unique steel. Price-wise, oh, there's also a hand-engraved last name of Boy right there. That was pretty neat. That was pretty cool. They took the time to do that when I received it. Super versatile. You can wrap the handle any way you want. I thought that was pretty cool. And it's hefty enough to, I've opened a coconut with it. You can definitely chop with this knife. And you can choke up on it, So yeah, pretty versatile knife for what it is. And it will never corrode. You can leave this at the bottom of the ocean for 10,000 years. And then pull it up, and it'll be the same knife that you left down there. Yeah, very, very unique knife. All right, so it's sitting at around $360 on the Boy website. 375 at countryknives.com. Again, 360 at Uptown Cutlery. Blade HQ used to have it, which is pretty interesting. They don't anymore, but they've got all the specs on there as well. Pretty cool. And then this is their one competitor, Terrain 365, making the Nautilus Alpha, which is made of a similar alloy that they call Terravantium. And specs-wise, pretty similar. This one's slightly longer, slightly thinner. But that is the other option in terms of this kind of dive knife that is made of a dendritic cobalt alloy. These are almost impossible to find for sale, though, and I personally prefer the blade shape and general build of this, but just know that is out there. Yeah, anyways, in closing, a phenomenal knife. I mean, I have cut through some gnarly rope with this. It's really incredible. It just goes through like butter. It is just something else. But yeah, that is the Boy Cobalt Basic 3.